Manchester United's four-man striker shortlist is revealed with big names like Victor Osimhen and Boniface in the mix. Amorim delivers a clear message to Ineos about his transfer priorities in 2025 while making an instant impact with the squad. Plus, Harry Amas loan talks with Chido Obi-Martin's new deal. What's going on there? In this video, we'll keep you right up to date with all the latest Manchester United news and transfer updates. Welcome to Man United Review. My name's Jamie. Before we get into it, please smash a like on the video. And let's jump straight into it. So let's kick off with the transfer priority. So this should not come as a surprise to everybody that the priority going into 2025 is going to be a left back or a left wing back. I still think it was a mistake not getting a left back or left back in the summer. Personally, I know some of you will agree in the comments. I know some of you felt that we would needed a striker. We've got loads of updates on strikers coming up today as well. So let's kick off with the left back situation. So the message from Ruben Amorim to the management: we need a left back in 2025. It could be January or summer based on opportunities, price, and several factors. And there's been a few kind of names that have been thrown around. The usual suspects, I would say, are amongst them, but a really interesting, I don't want to say new name. We have been linked with them before in the past, but not very heavily recently. So there are three names on Manchester United's list for new left back stroke left wing back: Alphonso Davies, Theo Hernández, and Milos Kerkez. Davies is the desired candidate for United and the interest is concrete. That came from Florian Plettenberg, who is a credible source. More so around German stroke Bayern Munich transferred, I would say. So the fact that he's saying that Davies is the preferred or the desired candidate is really interesting. But yeah, what do you think about that? Alphonso Davies, Theo Hernández, Milos Kerkez. I mean, Theo Hernández, we'll go through the kind of news on that in a second. Is a player that we were linked with like a couple of years ago, but we haven't been linked with him that heavily for the last 12 to 18 months, I would say. Alphonso Davies, loads of talk, covered that in multiple videos recently. Kerkez is one, again, that we've covered quite a lot. I would still put like Alvaro Carreras on there. I still think, Robertson from Fulham could be in with a shout. You've got Nori from Wolves is linked with us as well. Do you know what I mean? There are quite a few players. Miguel Gutierrez is the other one as well. So there are quite a few options at left back or left wing back. But yeah, Theo Hernández, let's go through that. So Theo Hernández is also on United's list alongside other options for the left back position. He is being closely monitored. Contract with AC Milan until 2026. Again, that was from Florian Plettenberg. And he also did say, though, that Alphonso Davies remains the desired target, but difficult to realise. So it is kind of, as expected with Davies, it's still very likely he's going to go to Real Madrid, but I think United are trying, and I don't blame them for trying. It's a free transfer, for a very talented player in a key position that we do need to strengthen. So going for Davies is not, I actually think that we should be going for Davies. It's just very unlikely because I think he's already got everything. I think he's got his heart set on going to Real Madrid, reading between the lines, but to win the race, you've got to be in the race. But yeah, what do we think about Hernández? Let me know in the comments. There's this kind of stats. I mean, he's a little bit older. Well, he's 27 years old, so he's in his kind of peak years, a little bit old above the age category, though, that Ineos want to go for. 15 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists, valued at 60 million euros, though, on transfer market, but only on around £80,000 a week from what I could find. Undoubtedly one of the best left backs around at the moment. I mean, those stats are pretty decent, aren't they, for a player of his quality? Will be coming into his prime. It's just the cost, isn't it? I mean, with 2 years left on his contract, though, Milan have got a kind of decision to make, haven't they? Whether they either renew his contract or cash in on him in the summer while his stock is still high and his price is still high. So for me, it would just depend on the price. But would fit the bill of being best in class that Ineos want to kind of go for, and that's their kind of mantra. He's definitely one of the best left backs around. So again, definitely an interesting option. I think it would be way too expensive, though. I don't think we've got the sort of budget to go out and get Hernández when we need other positions in the squad strengthening as well. If we were in a position where we needed like 1 or 2 players, then yes, we could maybe stretch our budget to go in for that. But when we need, you know, several players in different positions, then I don't think we're going to have those sort of funds available personally, but would definitely be an interesting option. It's one to keep an eye on. That's for sure. So I'll bring you any updates or any news if that kind of if it develops a little bit further. But like I said, Theo Plettenberg is quite a credible journalist. So, but it's just whether we would get it done or not. I have my doubts personally, but let me know what you think in the comments. And then one of our current left backs, Harry Amas, is a loan target for a host of EFL clubs in the January transfer window. That came from Peter O'Rourke, who's a decent source, not the most credible, but is okay. Suggesting that potentially we might look to loan Harry Amas out, because the problem with Amas is that people at the club don't think he's physically ready to play Premier League football yet. So to send him out on loan to one of the most physical leagues in the world to help him, accelerate his physicality or help him develop that would not be a bad shout, in my opinion, especially now we've got Malacia back. Luke Shaw's on his way back. Malacia was on the bench at the weekend. Shaw actually came on, made an appearance, so they're back. So it just kind of pushes Amas further down the pecking order. Plus, if we then go and maybe get a left back, potentially in January, there's another story I'll go through in a second on that. Then yeah, sending him out on loan would maybe not be the worst idea in the world to hopefully help accelerate his development. But let me know what you think in the comments around that. And then Amorim will work closely with Dan Ashworth and Jason Wilcox to identify ways to improve the squad, which will not put United in financial breach. A current and clear area of need is at left back, but an orthodox fix is tricky. United will seek a deal which sees them take a solution on loan with the addition of an agreed fee at a later date. That came from Mike Keegan in the Daily Mail, suggesting, pretty similar that the left back is the priority position. I think that's widely documented, widely reported. I don't think there's anyone that would be surprised that we are looking at a left back or a left wing back. But then also in the report suggesting that potentially signing one in January might not be possible because of financial fair play restrictions. Some of you have been saying that in the comments on multiple videos around where we're getting the funds from in January, and I do agree. I think some would depend on sales, and we might have to get kind of clever. And that's what that story is suggesting, is that we might have to do like a loan with an obligation or an option to buy in the summer, so it pushes that kind of financial outlay into next year's PSR rules. But again, it's just who you could get for that sort of deal. Who knows? But key priority, left back, definitely one that we're looking at. Could be looking at some kind of deal in January, but if it's for an expensive left back, I would imagine they'll try to do that loan with an option or an obligation to buy. Maybe even getting like just someone temporarily on loan would be what they would look at as well. Although I think the quality that you would be looking for then would be a little bit less than if you're looking to buy somebody permanently. But it just depends on price, budget, who's available as well, because you've got to remember not a lot of clubs do want to sell players in January, definitely not for decent deals anyway. So definitely an area that we are looking to strengthen though, but we're just going to have to wait and see how that develops, wait and see. We'll probably get linked with loads more names between now and January as well. And who knows, we might get some more stronger links with a few players the closer we get to the transfer window as well, like from an Ornstein or a Romano or somebody or somebody of that kind of nature. But yeah, definitely excited, definitely one that we're looking for. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now let's move on to the striker situation, because this was actually quite interesting news. So 4 strikers are currently on Manchester United's list and being discussed. Omar Mamouche, Rando Kolo Muani, Victor Boniface, and Victor Osimhen. Again, that came from Florian Plettenberg, who is a credible source. As I mentioned earlier, though, a little bit more though so with German stories and Bayern Munich stories, not so credible outside of Germany. So the Boniface one and Mamouche, they obviously play in the Bundesliga. Muani has former links with the Bundesliga as well. Osimhen one, though, I've not really heard too much about it. There was some random story that I don't even think I bothered covering, because it was from a very uncredible source. It was like a tier 5 source saying that, Napoli might swap Xerxes with Osimhen, which I threw straight in the bin. But, there are a couple of players that are linked with Bundesliga's players, and like I said, Florian Plettenberg is very credible when it comes to that sort of news. he also went on to say that rumours about Kolo Muani and United are not currently hot. At the moment, there is no internal discussions or concrete ideas about a loan move in the winter. So also coming out saying that there's interest in Muani, but not very, very good interest. Basically, he might be one of the names that we're getting linked with the clicks, I think. And I'll go through all the stats and stuff, and we'll do like a bit of a comparison at the end once we run through the news around these strikers, and then you can let me know who you would go for in the comments. On Marmoush, Plettigode said that Eintracht Frankfurt forward Omar Marmoush is being looked at by Manchester United. He would cost around 42 to 50 million pounds. You know, again, whether we'll have that sort of money, definitely not in January. I don't think we'll have that sort of cash available. That would maybe move more of a summer deal. And Marmoush is very, very heavily linked with Liverpool. And Liverpool have funds available because they didn't really spend anything in the summer. I think they only bought Chiesa, didn't they? Correct me if I'm wrong. So they still have a transfer budget, like funds to spend as well. You know, and I don't think we've got that sort of money available in January for sure. So that would maybe be something more of a summer deal. But again, we'll go through his stats in a second. On Victor Boniface, Plettenberg said Victor Boniface is on Manchester United's shortlist. If at all, an expensive transfer should become a serious topic in the summer. United are actively scouting the striker market. If no new striker arrives in January, the club plan to secure one in the summer at the latest. So again, Victor Boniface, potentially another name on the list. And again, we'll go through all their kind of stats and bits in a second. In fact, let's do it now. So I did a little overview as a kind of comparison. So Marmoush, 25 years old, 17 appearances, 14 goals, 10 assists this season. That is unbelievable. Valued at 40 million euros on transfer market, but obviously the report there said between 40 and 50 million pounds because of that reason. 24 goal contributions in 17 appearances. That is outstanding. The worry I would have with Marmoush is his year one season wonder, because I don't know if he's ever had that sort of season before, but you know, if you're going to sign an informed player, then that would be the one to go for, in my opinion. And then Muani, 25 years old, 13 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist, 40 million euros on transfer market. There's talk of loan deals. Potentially, I've seen a report potentially linking him with Arsenal for around 30 million pounds as well. So would definitely be the cheaper option. But there's a reason why he's cheap, in my opinion, is because he is not performing very well with PSG. And I always think there was a report a couple of days ago that which raised an interesting point, was that the Ineos want to go away from signing players that are not in form and with the hope of trying to kind of recreate that form as well. And Muani was unbelievable at Stuttgart before he went to PSG, but he's not been very good at PSG. So you're signing a player under the hope that he becomes good again. And I think we've got enough players in the squad that we're already waiting on that. Where we're waiting on players to become good again because they were good in the past. So that would be, you know, like I said, that would be a cheap option, effectively. Muani. And then Boniface, 23 years old, so the youngest out of them, 15 appearances, 8 goals, 1 assist, 45 million euros he's valued at on transfer market, is an absolute beast as well. So would definitely be like a, you know, definitely be an interesting option there. I think he could definitely handle the physicality of the Premier League. And then Victor Osimhen, 25 years old. I thought he was older than that, you know. 25, 10 appearances, 8 goals, 4 assists, is the most expensive, though, valued at 75 million euros on transfer market. Whether Napoli would command that now with all the shenanigans that's happening with him, the fact he's had to go out on loan, who knows? But one of the reasons he didn't go to Chelsea was because of the wages he was demanding. So that would definitely be a costly one. And I'm not sure Ineos will want to go down that route and paying that sort of money for Victor Osimhen. Plus, I don't like his attitude and the way he's handled himself around his move to Napoli. That worries me a little bit, as good as he is, though. But yeah, they're the 4 kind of names linked. The obvious question is, let me know in the comments who you're picking, who you're having. Personally, based on that, probably tipping more towards Marmoush because he's in the form of his life. He is a bit more versatile as well, so he can play in a couple of other positions. 40 to 50 million pounds is a decent price for somebody that's got 24 goal contributions in 17 games. But the worry is he a flash in the pan kind of striker? But they all have a little bit of question marks around them. There's no player you're going to sign that doesn't have question marks around them, to be fair. But let me know yours in the comments. And then in keeping with strikers, Manchester United have scouts at Sporting Lisbon's Champions League game with Arsenal tonight. That was last night to watch Victor Gyökeres. That came from Nave Sol. So, you know, do we really need a scouting? But the reason I thought that was kind of key, obviously Amorim knows him, so he doesn't need a kind of scouting, but the club are not signing players for the manager anymore. They're going to sign the position. They're going to scout players that they think will fit the club. So maybe the scouts do need to still watch him and analyse the data and do all of that side of things. Amorim won't because he knows him personally, but Amorim's not picking the signings. Amorim's picking the positions. We're going to give him a list of signings or players for that position, and then Amorim's going to pick which one he wants from that list. So I do believe the scouts would still need to do their job and their due diligence around him. They got battered as well by Arsenal last night, and there was it 5-1, I think. So the decline of Sporting has already started once Amorim's gone. And then... So I thought I'd add him to the list. So when you compare Victor Gyökeres with the strikers that we've just mentioned, you know, he's 26 years old, 19 appearances, 24 goals, 4 assists, valued at 70 million euros on transfer market. But I think the reports were he's got a gentleman's agreement with Sporting where he can go for around 60 million pounds. I think it was like 63 million pounds if memory serves me right, on a previous video that we kind of covered. You know, out of those, just go and get the best around. If you want to best in class and everything like that. And for me, Victor Gyökeres is, you know, by far, I think the most in form. He's a good age. I mean, 24 goals in 19 appearances, 4 assists. I think he like out of those 5, I would be going all in for Gyökeres personally. I think he's in outstanding form. Go and get the best striker around, and I think at the moment he's probably the best striker around. So go and get him, in my opinion. But let me know yours in the comments. And then in keeping with strikers, Chido Obi-Martin will sign his first professional contract on Friday. Now that came from a Norwegian outlet via a decent United aggregator account. So I do believe that that's credible. And the reason that's a bit weird is because obviously we only just signed him, but once he turns 17, he can sign a professional contract. So that's what they're kind of suggesting there. So that's really good. Again, he's being fast-tracked. One to kind of watch, a name we're going to hear a lot of, I think. Chido Obi-Martin, fantastically talented young player. Let's just hope we develop him in the right way, because that is definitely a player that I could see breaking through, which would break the mold because we've not had that many young players come through in the striker position that have kind of succeeded, have we? So that's going to be really interesting to kind of keep an eye on. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then the final couple of stories I've got for you. So the emphasis will continue to be on recruiting younger players, arrivals of those with the profile of a Casemiro, and an outlay of £70 million on a 30-year-old are a thing of the past. And I love that. I champion that. You know, so that kind of throws in the bin, I think, all the, you know, Sane noise and stuff like that as well, because they're old players that are going to cost a lot per week. And Ineos are not going to go anywhere near those signings or those sort of signings. There's no value in them. You might get 1 or 2 decent seasons out of some of these players, but then you're trapped with them on very expensive wages. There's no resale value. There is no point in going for these sort of players. In my opinion, you're better off edging your bets with younger profile players that you can develop, but even if they don't develop, maybe have some sell-on value, and they're not going to command those sort of wages as well. So I champion that. That was already kind of, we sort of already knew that anyway, but that's been confirmed by Mike Keegan, so we can throw in the bin any kind of rumours that we get with, you know, 30-year-old really high wage players, because I don't think any of us are going to go anywhere near that. And some of you have already kind of mentioned that in comments on previous videos as well, so fair play for that. And then the final story, Ruben Amorim's impact and connection with the first team squad has been almost instantaneous. There is a warmth that has not been seen for some time, and at 39, he is viewed as relatable. Nothing but positive around Amorim's, and the reports coming out from around Carrington and the players saying that they all like him, they're getting on, they want to work, they want to change. I mean, it is just still going to take time, though. He's not a magician. He does not have a magic wand where he can come in, wave it around, and then all of a sudden our players know how to play a different style of play and know what he wants instantaneously. As he said himself, there's going to be some pain. We're going to suffer going forward because he's going to stick with his laurels. He believes in what he's doing is the right thing. I actually like that. Whether it will work or not, we'll have to wait and see. But there is going to be some, you know, there's going to be some pain because the players are not going to get to grips with the different system, different tactics and everything like that instantaneously. They're going to have to learn on the fly. And that is going to, unfortunately, have an impact on some performances and potentially some results as well. But it is what it is. Short-term pain, long-term gain, in my opinion, on that. But let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what you think about all the other topics discussed in today's video in the comments below. Do enjoy reading them, because that's you all up to date with the latest Manchester United news and transfer news. Don't forget to smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. And I'll see you in the next one.